Welcome to the Transformation Church podcast, where we're leading people into a transforming relationship with Jesus. We hope this message inspires you, builds your faith, and gives you a fresh perspective on God and His Word so you can see transformation in your own life. Enjoy the message.
Well, welcome. My name is Brandon. If you are a guest here today, grateful that you are with us and want to say hello to everyone that is watching online. We're glad you're here today. I'll give you a little quick place of where we're going to be. Luke chapter 15. We're going to continue in our Prodigal series. Today we're going to talk about a different character in the Bible. You know what I love to hear is that when we said Luke chapter 15, I heard like pages moving, and that's like actual Bibles. You know what I mean? As opposed to like the screen thing, which is what I use, you know, but I love to hear it was like the pages. I love that. We're going to be in Luke chapter 15, and grateful that you could be here. Let me ask you a question this morning. And maybe you'll be able to relate to me a little bit. Have you ever used the phrase, "That's just not fair"? Now, I know as adults, right? Well, it's like, wait, is this children's church? What are we doing here? As adults, that seems a little bit unique to say, but we still find ourselves saying it. Or if we don't say it, we for sure can feel it. And if we don't feel it, like we are probably believing it at some point in our heads. I can remember moments of my life where I just kind of felt like, man, like this just doesn't seem very fair. Let me break fair for you here. That's not fair. Why does fair matter so much? Well, it's built into us. Nobody has to teach a kid to say or feel like that's not fair. And anybody who has ever had children before can agree with me and say, amen. And if we're honest, adults just dress it up in different words. We may not stomp around on our feet, but we still feel the same sting when life tends to tilt in someone else's direction. I'm going to let you in a little bit on me, okay? I wasn't the best student in school, okay? Now, I did my homework, kind of. I studied for my test, partially. And I showed up, and I expected to do well. Now, I kind of sometimes feel like I got two gifts, right? Like the gift of gab, and one of them, right? But also, like sometimes I feel like when I've had enough coffee, like I can be a little bit winsome. That's up for debate maybe this morning. I don't know how you feel about that, but so what I practiced at was not so much about studying, but how much I could try to win my teacher over, so that if there ever came a time, come on somebody, I know y'all know what I'm talking about, where I might need to utilize that relational leverage for the fact that I didn't do so well, that I could say, hey, come on now, miss or mister. You remember, I always loved, we're going to see the two types of people in this room today. I always loved when we would take tests. Like, who likes to take tests? I'm kidding. I hated taking tests. I would be prepared, kind of. And the test would happen, and then the teacher would grade it, and then she would give the test back. And when she gets it back, there's two types of people. The people who made a good grade, and the people who didn't make such a good grade. I found myself on the other side of that. To the point where when people are, when they're passing out tests and like you can kind of see people looking at other people's desks and your grade isn't that good. I know some of you, it's been a while since you've been in school, but you can remember. It's like nostalgia. You would put your hand over the grade or just kind of tilt it so nobody else could see it. I had this one teacher that she always curved the test grade. I love that teacher. For those of you who are unaware, you curve it to the highest amount, which is 100. So whoever gets the highest, 92 if you will, you get 100. And if you were like me, you made a 72, you get an 80. Now, I know that some of you are sitting here this morning, and what are you thinking to yourself right now? Well, that's not fair. What about the person who studied so hard, 18 hours of preparation, and went from a 92 to 100? Congratulations, you stayed at an A. But what about the guy who prepared kind of? Got a 72, and he went from a C to a B. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone in here today to not put effort into your schooling. Do not walk out of here and say, I said that. But what I am doing is building the tension of what it feels like sometimes. Well, that just doesn't seem right. Something is off here. This doesn't feel fair. We all love to measure fairness. Kids, teens, sports, adults do it too. We just do it in more sophisticated ways. In all areas of our life, we think in terms of what is deserved, what is earned, and what is owed. Here's where we struggle, because we judge people based on two different ways. We judge people based off of our intentions and then their actions. Well, we both do the same thing, but I meant well, and they acted out. You can find this in almost every area of life. Work, ministry, school, relationships, friendships. We judge ourselves by our intentions, and we judge others by their actions. And that, friends, is where entitlement lives. And where a religious, everybody say religious, a religious spirit thrives. It looks faithful, but if not careful, what happens is it begins to resent grace. Because, friends, grace isn't fair. The Bible says in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8 and 9, that grace is a gift. Is a gift that is what? It is not earned and it is not deserved. You can't do anything to work for it. You can't do anything to strive to get it more. That grace is freely given to everyone in this room. The Bible says the just and the unjust alike. And here's what can happen in the tension of fairness of grace is we find ourselves wrestling what our preference and what we think as opposed to what he has declared. This is the tension that we will hear about in Luke chapter 15. But have you ever noticed, and maybe you can hear it a little bit this morning, but I typically leave my phone in the back because my phone goes off a lot. And it's always kind of giving me, I even turn off notifications sometimes, and somehow it's like sneaks its way through, I have 2 children, for those of you that don't know, a 9-year-old, soon to be 10, and a 12-year-old, soon to be 13. Thank you. Pray for me. I would appreciate that. This phone can be a distraction, okay? You work from it, you catch emails from it, you socialize from it, you order from it. You do everything from these phones. You take pictures of your food from it. I mean, come on. It's like the weirdest stuff. We've all done it, I think. I pick my kids up from school as much as I can when I'm not traveling, I'm not out of town, and I get in the car and I like to ask questions, right? I like to probe some things out of my kids. So I ask my son. They kind of battle back and forth. Shotgun, who goes up front, So typically I start with whoever's up front. And my son, I'll say, hey, bud, how was your day? Good. What'd you do today? Not much. Did you have fun? Yep. Were you kind? It's like, yes. I'm like, okay, we're not going anywhere with this. Hey, sis, how was your day? Well, Dad went at 7:45 this morning. I'm like, okay. Well, as she's telling me about her day, and then at 10, and then we went to lunch, and I cannot believe. And I'm just, oh, really? Uh-huh. Yep. No way. You're telling, Dad, you're not even paying attention. But I'm sorry, now I know that some of you are like, gosh, what a terrible father. Don't judge me. I know you've probably done it at least once or twice, maybe not to your precious children, but you were sitting in a meeting at work and the boss was talking and it was kind of like the Charlie Brown noise. And you're like, doom scrolling. Right? Check my 500 emails. Got a notification. I mean, this thing can distract us. And what can happen? What happens is we become physically present, but emotionally absent. I mean, some of us, it's sad for me to even say, but some of us, let's just talk to the people maybe watching online. You're watching right now. And while you're watching, you're scrolling. I'm kidding. We love you. Come visit us. Physically present. You're in here. You're like, man, this guy, where's he going with this whole thing? Physically present. Notification. Physically absent. And that's the tension we wrestle. And this is what happened to the brother. The brother is the new character in this text. He's the brother that stayed. He's the brother that tended to the field. He was the brother that was working. We're going to get to in a second. He was in the Father's house. He was working in the Father's field. But friends, his heart was somewhere else. The title of my message this morning for you is Faithful-ish. And friends, faithful-ish looks like loyalty, but hides resentment. It feels like service, but lacks joy. It sounds like faith, but goodness, man, sometimes it just rings very hollow. And if we're all honest, can we all just take a moment and be honest here this morning? We all, if we take a close look, can see ourselves in the older brother. And maybe you're like me and you've said a few of these questions before. Maybe you've said, well, I've done more. Why are they getting celebrated and I'm not? Or maybe you find yourself saying, well, hey man, I've been here all along. Where's my reward? Where's my gift? I serve faithfully. I show up. And if we're not careful, what happens? Remember when I had you say religious? That religious spirit begins to develop and it begins to grow. And then entitlement sets in. And entitlement speaks the language of I deserve. And then comparison sets in. And it whispers, why them? Why not me? And then all of a sudden, here's what happened. What once felt super joyful, all of a sudden dies. And we find no more joy in what used to bring us so much purpose. But there's a pursuit here that I want you guys to see in Luke chapter 15. Luke chapter 15, verse 25 says, meanwhile, everybody say meanwhile. This word is an important word, okay? Meanwhile, okay? Now, here's before meanwhile. And I'll get you caught up. There were two sons. One son left the house. He went out. He did all sorts of things that he shouldn't do, lost everything, returned home. Well, the other son stayed, faithfulish. And then the story picks up. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields. What was he doing? Working. He was working. He stayed faithfulish, working. And when he returned from, what was he doing? Working. When he returned home from working, he heard music. Now I can just picture this brother as he goes every single day and he works and he works and he works and he does what he feels like he is told to do. Maybe not what he wants to do, but what he feels like he has to do. And he's coming home, and as he's coming in, which was where he would go every single day, it's a new day. He heard music and dancing in the house. And so he did probably what any of us would do. He asked one of the servants who was there, what's going on? Now, I don't know about you, but I can see this in my mind. If you're visual, you probably could too. Like I can see, what is a better way for me to say it? What is happening here? This is unusual. And this is how the servant responded. Your brother is back. And your father has killed the fattened calf. And we are celebrating because of his safe return. Now, if I could picture just like this guy just kind of scratching his head like, wait, what? You guys ever seen that Russell Westbrook meme? Where he goes, what? That's what I picture is happening here. Next verse. The older brother was getting angry. And notice, he wouldn't go in. The other brother was so upset that his younger brother had decided to return, and they were throwing a celebration for his safe return. And because of entitlement and because of comparison, he would not even go in to enjoy what was taking place. His father came out. Notice, his father came out and begged him. But he replied, man, you want to talk about fair? All these years I have slaved for you and never once refused to do a single thing you told me. And in all that time, you never gave me even one young goat for a feast with my friends. Verse 30. Yet, you feel it? I mean, if you can't, we gotta, yet, when this son of yours comes back, not even my brother anymore. That's your son. My wife be telling me that sometimes. Your son needs to be talked to. I thought we were in this together. Nope, your son. And when this son of yours comes back, after squandering your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing a fatted calf, which is like the ultimate celebration in that time. I mean, the tension that you can sense in this moment between this older brother, I don't know about you, but I can feel it sitting in this room. But here's what you have to notice. It's that one brother left in rebellion, but the other brother stayed in religion. And both were far from Jesus. And both were far from the Father's heart. One left in rebellion, one stayed in religion. Both of them were far from God. And notice, what did he do for both of them? He ran to the son Pastor Ryan preached last week. He ran to the older son when he was a far way off. But friends, he went out to the one who stayed, but he stayed with all the wrong reasons. And both of these were in the wrong space. I jotted down a few thoughts this week of some of my personal takeaways from this text. I'll put them on the screen. Rebellion takes you far from the Father's house, but religion can keep you close to the house, but still far from the Father. One son ran from the Father by breaking all the rules. The other by keeping them for all the wrong reasons. Lostness is not about location, but about relation. You can be in the field working or in the pig pen wandering and still be just as lost. Rebellion says, I don't need my Father. But religion says, if I perform well enough, I won't need him either. And both of these reject the free gift of grace. Notice that the Father went out to both sons, providing that salvation is not about the son's journey to him, but a pursuit from the Father. And I just want to say to you today, wherever you may find yourself in rebellion or caught in the trap of religion, friends, the Father pursues you today as well. And he is pursuing you even now. That you don't have to perform for him. You don't have to do more for him. You don't have to strive to get him to love you more or less. That he loves you where you are, as you are, for who you are. And he will take you right here in this moment because you are a son of the living God. Male, female. No age separates you. No background separates you from the love of the Father. There are three underlying issues in this text of faithful-ish. The three underlying issues a faithful-ish. Notice, ish. I don't want to live faithful-ish. In fact, we sang that song this week, faithfulness, faithful now. But because I was preparing for this message, I found myself saying, faithful-ish, faithful now. No. That's not what we're talking about. Faithful-ish. 3 underlying issues. Number 1, resentment. Everybody say resentment. Resentment. Resentment is the silent poison of the heart. It is anger stored up over time, often disguised as disappointment or fairness. Friends, the older brother resented his father's kindness to the younger son because in his mind, kindness towards his brother felt like injustice towards himself. Resentment doesn't just hurt others, it locks us out of joy, leaving us standing outside while everyone else is celebrating on the inside. Wait, what is happening in there? His brother would not go in. Why? Resentful. He had resentment in his heart. Number 2 is the underlying issue of faithful-ish, entitlement. Entitlement is the belief that we are owed something because of what we've done or who we are. Let me read that to you again. Entitlement is the belief that we have owed something because of who we are or what we have done. It measures life in terms of, I deserve this. Oh, I earned this. Oh, I'm better than them. The older brother lived entitled. He thought years of service, while the other brother was off in rebellion. He thought years of staying and being religious gave him leverage over his other brother. But the problem with entitlement is that it makes us blind to grace. Because grace is always a gift and never a wage to be earned. Entitlement creeps in slowly over time. And when we have resentment in our hearts and we think we are entitled to who we are and what we deserve, what happens is then our motive becomes for all the wrong reasons. Resentment, entitlement, and motive. Motive in this text is behind what we do. 2 people can do the same action, but the motive makes all the difference. The older brother said, did you notice it? All these years I've slaved for you. His motive wasn't love for the father. It was earning from the father. And what makes me the saddest in reading this text is he didn't even see himself as a son anymore. All these years I've slaved for you. All these years I've strived for you. All these years I've worked for you. And that's what happens when we begin to allow resentment and entitlement to come into place. But as a servant working for wages, our motives reveal whether we are living for approval or living from acceptance. And friends, I want to say to you today, it would be better to do nothing than to do something with the wrong motive. I know that kind of contradicts. Hey, lead a group, join a dream team, serve, go help the needy and the poor. You should. But don't do it with the wrong motives. Because there's destruction in that. What I believe is a tactic from the enemy, friends, hear me today. What I believe is a tactic from the enemy is to get you not to struggle with your perception of God and who He is. It's to just lull you to sleep in thinking that you're doing something for other people, but you're really doing it with all the wrong motives. Notice, resentment, entitlement, and motive start R-E-M. Now, I've never done a sleep study. And I know there are people that track their sleep, when they can hit their REM sleep. To be honest with you, I'm not even sure I even understand what REM sleep means. Except for I just know that you're deep in it for a period of time. And the same can be true about religion and what the enemy wants to do for you. Is he wants to lull you into a deep sleep of resentment and entitlement and all the wrong motives. So you keep showing up, doing what you're doing, but as a servant or a slave and not as a son of the living God. And then you find yourself, when other people are lifting up their hands and saying yes to Jesus, you're going, wait a second. We're doing what for them? And grace disrupts religion. So what we have to do there is, if these are the three underlying issues of faithful-ish, then we got to replace resentment. We got to replace entitlement. We got to replace motive. And then what should we replace it with? Well, how about we do this? How about we release resentment? What do you mean, B? How are we going to release resentment? Well, let me give you some practical things that you can do to try to help release some of that resentment that over time has tried to lull you to sleep. You release resentment by shifting your focus. Instead of replaying what someone else has, or what you begin to do is speak gratitude for what you've been given. Everybody say gratitude. The practice is simple but powerful. When you catch yourself saying, man, that's not fair, stop. And maybe you could do this. Name just a few things that you're thankful for in that moment. Because gratitude drains resentment. If you're taking any type of notes this morning, what I'd like for you to do is just write on your thing, gratitude. And I want you to think even now, 2, 3, 4 things this morning as coming to church. Maybe you were a little unsure, or you weren't sure how it was all going to play out, or man, what is it, and who's going to preach, and what songs are they going to sing, and all these things. And what I want you to do even this morning is begin to write 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things that you're grateful for this morning, because gratitude can drain resentment. So what do? We release resentment through gratitude. Number 2, we embrace. Everybody say embrace. So we release, we embrace. Well, what are we embracing? We embrace surrender over entitlement. You either surrender or you try to live entitled. When you embrace surrender by letting go of what you think you deserve, you make it a rhythm in prayer, and you actually you can say these words: Father, I release what I think I'm owed, and I receive what you freely give. And that posture reopens your hands for the grace that Jesus wants to release to you, to give to you. So we release, we embrace. And lastly, we got to match. We got to match our motives. And what do I mean? Well, there's 2 ways. Bringing and asking. To match your motives means bringing the why behind what you do into alignment with the Father's heart. Okay, what is the Father's heart? The Father's heart is love. The Father's heart is acceptance. The Father's heart is welcoming. The Father's heart is forgiving. The Father's heart is kind. Kind towards you. The Father's heart is embracing. The Father's heart is open. It's open to you. The older brother was serving, but his motive was leverage. I've slaved for you and now you owe me. His actions looked faithful, but his motives were transactional. And here's the thing, when you match your motives means asking. So it's not just bringing, it's asking. And what is it asking? Well, does my why line up with my love? Is what I do line up with the love that I have? If I serve, hear me, church, if I serve, is it out of joy or out of obligation? If I give, is it to be seen or to honor the Father? If I obey, is it to earn something? Or because I recognize that as a son and as a daughter, I already belong. We got to match our motives. When your motives match the Father's heart, serving, acts of service, being faithful stops feeling like slavery and striving and working and earning, and it starts flowing from love. And if there's ever been a time that anything needs to flow from love, church, it's now. Obedience becomes joy, and faithfulness, hear me, and faithfulness becomes freedom. And this is what the Father was teaching the older son. I urge you, come inside. Celebrate with us. Rejoice in His faithfulness. And friends, He is faithful to you today. I promise you.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's message, be sure to share it with your friends and tag us at TransformTLH. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to seeing your face in the place someday. Have a great week.